This is Roger Struckoff with SysCon TV from CloudEXPO East in New York in 2016, day 2, and we're talking to Mahesh Ramu from Plasma. Now, we had a conversation with your company, I don't know, not that long ago, about something called Connect to Me, but I think it's changed. Today we're talking about C2M.
Yes,
so what are we talking about and why?
So we are talking about C2M, our digital transformation and IoT platform. And we have C2M on the market for almost about 3 years now. And it's a fantastic IoT platform that has a wide I should say, a comprehensive set of functionalities that it brings to the market, which makes it very distinctive.
And as you sort of migrating or abbreviating the name, what are the main strengths that are coming through? The IoT has changed, I think, or progressed in the last couple of years. So how are things really evolving for you, and what are you doing about it?
Yes, so we are seeing that, the prices of some of these IoT devices and sensors are falling quite rapidly. And that is actually propelling a lot of interest in this area from companies that can now afford technologies that were previously they were not able to afford. And with that, we are seeing a big increase in demand for IoT platforms and things that can be automated. There is a big return on investment in this area because you are able to actually now what people are doing, machines are able to do it. So that's a very attractive proposition to most companies.
Things that can be automated. So what sort of things are being automated in your world?
So I'll give you an example. We are working with a very advanced city in California. So one of the problems they have is that they're located on the ocean side. So the seawater is actually, sometimes it is pushing sewage back into the city, which is contaminating groundwater. Now what do they do about it? This has been happening for some time. So what they do is they open the manhole, they look into it, and then they know, okay, this is happening. So they turn on the pumps so that the sewage flows in the right direction. Now, what we are able to do is automate this. So we have probes that go into these manholes, and then that measures the electrical conductivity of water, so it knows how much of salt is there in the water. So it knows if the sea is going in the wrong direction or if the sewage is going in the right direction. And then we automatically can turn on pumps that actually does this. So you don't have to keep opening the manholes to see this, for example. So.
And they're catching the problem right away too. I mean, that's the thing. What other examples are there? I mean, is this all sort of like that's sort of a industrial application, I guess you would say? What is it going on beyond? I mean, what are you doing outside of that, or is it all within this sort of industrial application?
Yeah, our main focus is enterprise applications, which is mostly on the industrial focus actually. But we are also able to work on consumer applications as well. So we have, our platform is open. It is customizable based on the needs of the customer. So other examples of industrial implications, for example, for smart cities, if you look at smart cities, is there is a city in the state of New Jersey that was having an issue with the granularity of the rainfall. For example, if there is rainfall, they wanted to measure rainfall at different parts of the city as opposed to just having 2 metrics for the entire city. Rainfall of 3 inches. It's not just 3 inches across the city. It is 2.5 to 3.5 maybe. But now, to get this granularity, they have to have sensors in various different points of the city. Now, we are able to get the data from all of these sensors that have been deployed across the city and then show them in a single pane of glass on how the rainfall is, distributed across the city. So you can actually, the emergency response can focus on areas that are low-lying and which has a higher than a threshold of rainfall that is, that is happening there.
So there's an application that could be used by any city, and even the one in Los Angeles could be used by a lot of cities.
Absolutely, yes. And we have use cases that work across various industries. So we have things happening in energy, we have things happening in the oil fields, and we have cities, of course, like we mentioned, manufacturing. We have a bunch of use cases. One more interesting use case is we are working with one of the world's largest healthcare device manufacturer. And what they're trying to do is they have these ECG machines that in the developing world, these ECG machines have been sold across the planet. Of course, they have sold it to various different companies and individuals. So imagine you are in a rural area in a developing country, right? There is probably a healthcare provider, maybe a doctor in a village. He is able to measure the ECG of a patient, but then he's not a cardiologist, so he does not know how to interpret that data accurately as a cardiologist would. So what we are helping this company, the healthcare company, is that we are able to make that ECG device connected to a team of cardiologists who are actually looking at a bunch of monitors, and they say, okay, this guy needs to go to the hospital right away, this guy needs an injection, this guy needs this kind of a medicine. So so now we are bringing the cardiologist to a very remote location which was never being serviced by such people. So this is making the healthcare accessible by really remote areas.
Yeah, so it's a huge idea that can be applied in a lot of places with the technology and will to do it, and you're also saving lives along the way. So again, you think that the lowered cost of some of the devices and technology is enabling this, and that's going to continue?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, for this last healthcare use case that I mentioned, the cost of implementation was a really primary hurdle that had to be crossed. So when you are selling these kinds of services to really remote areas and developing world, I mean you cannot say, oh, it's just a couple of dollars. They cannot afford this. Right. So the cost of the device, the cost of the service, all of these are very critical factors, and we see a very good trend in the sense that with the advent of technology, I mean all of these prices are falling, which is making all of these things a lot more accessible.
Yeah, I lived in the developing world for several years, so I agree with you 100%. How do people find you online? What's your URL?
Oh, it is c2m.net. It is the letter C, the number 2, the letter m.net.
C2M.net, doing great works across the world, dropping prices if some of the technology helps a lot. Still have to know what you're doing. These guys do. Thanks a lot for coming and seeing us, and thanks for watching. For Syscon TV, this is Roger Strukov.